We're just going to dedicate this entire episode to this project. We're going to be talking with Billy. We're going to be playing all the music. You'll get behind-the-scenes stuff. You'll hear about all the different people that are on it. We're going to have a lot of fun. When it's all over, we're going to give you a chance to win a free copy of The Prog Collective. So enjoy yourself. Sit back. Here's our conversation with Billy Sherwood, talking all about The Prog Collective.
All right, we're talking with Billy Sherwood. Billy, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
This is our second Billy Sherwood interview for Roman's World, so I'm very honored. I really appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. No problem. Glad to be here.
So all over Facebook and the internet for a while now, we've been reading about this Prog Collective. So I know that there's, like, everybody and their mother playing on this thing, so let's kind of just go track by track. First of all, from the very beginning, how did you get involved? First, let me guess. You're at home. You're listening to the Roman's World podcast. You get a phone call, and it's somebody from some company that says, "Hey, man, we got this idea."
Yeah, that's how it works. They said, "Now that we've got Roman in the loop, let's get this done."
Right on. So how did you get involved?
Well, I work for a label here in Los Angeles called Cleopatra Records, and I do a lot of work for them. And mostly it had been tribute stuff, tribute to Pink Floyd, tribute to Journey and Rush, whoever, you name it, we've done it. And more recently, on one of my visits to the office down there, I said to Brian Pereira, who's the president, what, maybe there's something original we can do and come up with something original and include a bunch of great artists. And he kind of actually came up with this idea of making a progressive record and bringing everyone in and having me write it, which is quite a cool thing to actually have a record company president suggest to you to write a progressive rock album, in 2012. That's kind of a rare thing. So I was really excited about the idea, and we just sat there and kind of brainstormed this concept together, really. And then, I just got super excited from there, and off I went and started writing music. And before I knew it, I had a very a large amount of music in a short period of time because I was so inspired to get on with the project. So it kind of started from there and just started picking up speed. And the next thing I knew, about 10 days after I started writing, I had the whole thing sketched out, and we were ready to start farming it out to other musicians. So that's the origins of where it started from.
So starting with track 1, The Laws of Nature.
And it's an exciting thing to be able to have that track for me because I'm a huge fan of the artists involved on that track. John Wett and I just produced, it's been a year now or so. I produced his last solo album. And, his is a voice that always comes to mind whenever I'm doing stuff. I love his voice, and he's very gracious with his time and his art and sharing and loves to work on these projects. So he was one of my first calls, and he said, "I'd love to do it." And so I started writing with his voice in mind, that song, Laws of Nature. And, basically started filling in the gaps. Got Jerry Goodman to play some violin on there, which is amazing. From
Jerry Goodman.
Dixie Dregs, just a fantastic player. And Tony Levin, of course, Gabriel, his list goes on. Crimson, great bass player. And David Sancious played keys on that track. And then I played drums. I played drums on the whole record. I just wanted to set the template of where we were going, so drums for me is a big part of that, and I just sat down and started crafting the thing. I kind of wrote a lot of it based around drum grooves, so. But that particular track, that's the lineup. It's quite cool.
Now, I assume you wrote the lyrics for that one too.
I did. I wrote the music and the lyrics for all of it.
Okay. Can you give us a little bit behind where the lyrics came from?
Well, just the idea that the laws of nature you cannot get around, and as much as we all try to manipulate science and politics and just the general social aspect of our lives here, things are going to be what they're going to be, and human nature will always take over. So that's kind of the concept of it, really.
Fill the world with our designs for all the monuments.
Again, I see Jeff Downes listed on the credits for that one.
Over again, yeah, Jeff Downes. Richard Page is actually singing on there as well.
Okay.
And very cool track with Larry Fast. Great keyboard stuff on that record. And it just really amazed how the participation of these guys raised the bar on each track, and it just became amazing.
How did you decide which artist to attach to which song?
Sort of came in a two-part process. One was people coming back to me saying, I'm into this project, when are you ready? And, I had things ready to go for them. Others were literally, I was thinking of the guy when I was composing it, and I was hoping that, in a perfect world, I would get them. And in some cases I did. For instance, Checkpoint Karma. I had in my mind Colin Moulding's voice on that song, just from the word go. And I reached out to him, Colin being the bass player from XTC, great bass player, great singer. And I reached out to him because we had worked together a few times, and I said, I have this original track I'd love you to sing, and, could you check it out and let me know? And he wrote back to me, well, you've already sung it, I can hear it, because when I'm making these kind of records, I do everything, I paint the whole picture. Then I back out things and replace them. So when I'm presenting the artist, they can see the picture, So in that regard, I had the vocals done. And he wrote back and said, you sound great singing this. I don't need to sing this. I said, that's not the point. I really want you to sing this track. Could you please try? And he actually went for it and put in just some great personality into that song. And I mean, it's just, I'm honored to have those kind of people involved, especially Colin being one of my favorite, artists from XTC. I mean, that's just a huge thing for me. So,
This Checkpoint Karma, that's also the track that Rick Wakeman is on.
Yes. Right, Checkpoint Karma. Yeah. I'm a little confused because there's so much on there. Yeah, Rick plays some great stuff. There's one particular moment in there where the lyric says, all aboard, please enjoy the view, which is relating more to the lyrics of kind of sitting on a train and looking at some landscape. But the way that it ties in, please enjoy the view, and then Rick comes in with his smoking keyboard solo, it's almost like Colin's introducing Rick. It's quite funny.
Now, were a lot of these guys, with technology today, I assume some of them were there in person, others were sent you the track, or were all of them in person, or how did that work?
God, a lot of these guys, it's farmed out. And, they do it at home in their studios. Everybody has a studio in their house, so you farm out files and send it back. I worked with Richard Page in person, and Squire in person, and Jared Goodman, a few of the other guys, but for the most part, the higher percentage is
Chris Squire.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Chris Squire played on the Technical Divide.
Yes, he played bass on Technical Divide, and Alan Parsons sang it.
Alan Parsons sings on that too.
Yeah, Alan Parsons sings on that. It's really cool and very unusual for him to kind of do something like that, and so it just came out really, really great and provides a different sort of flavor for the album because his voice is so unique. It almost, it has that very soothing sort of texture to it. And the song is has elements of sort of a Beach Boys kind of harmonies thing in the chorus and just kind of a grooving track. So it's cool. It's very cool.
Very cool. Gary Green also on that track.
Gary Green, man, I love Gary Green. He's a great guy, very sweet guy, and amazing guitar player. Obviously, his stuff on record is phenomenal. He's Gentle Giant, so I'm a fan of his, and anytime I can work with Gary, it's a pleasure. So.
Now, our good friend Tony Kaye also got a phone call for this project.
Yes, well, Tony gets a call pretty much from every project I'm on now. I drag him in whether he wants to go or not.
I always imagine Tony just quietly trying to play tennis and live his life, and Billy's always calling him and getting him to go do something.
Exactly, and I'm about to call him again and tell him that he's in the Prague Collective Live, which I'm trying to actually assemble a cast of characters for and see how that goes, because there might very well be a position to take that onto a stage. So.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that in a second. But the Tony K track is called "Follow the Signs," and John Wesley also on that one.
Yes, John Wesley, who from Porcupine Tree, just sang a great version of that song and brought his own unique flavor to the table. And it's just, another one of those tracks where the artists themselves just took it to another level that I didn't really imagine it could go to. And I think that's the key thing with this record. Obviously, in my solo stuff, I do everything myself. I'm just about to release a new solo album called The Art of Survival, where I play everything by myself. But doing these records with other people on tributes, it's one thing. But when you've written everything, you feel a little more possessive about everything. And when you let go, you're always a little bit unsure. But in this case, you're letting go to the most outrageous musicians I could imagine. And so I never have any fear about it. And when it comes back, I'm just blown away with what they've added and how great it is,
I see Annie Haslam's name on the list as well.
Yeah, Annie from Renaissance, great voice. I wanted that female character to enter the equation on this record because I normally don't have that involved. I just don't get an opportunity to work with a lot of female singers for whatever reason. Don't ask me why. I'd love to work with Kate Bush and Tori Amos. So it was in my mind to get a beautiful female voice on that track, and Annie Haslam's voice came to mind, and she just did such a great job on that song, Social Circle. She just sounds beautiful and elegant, and I asked her to approach the first half as if she was a clone of herself, sort of, kind of almost an android sort of singing the thing, because the idea of this track is that as we all feed our Facebooks every day with what we're doing in our daily lives, eventually, once we check out of this life and go into the next one, our avatars will live on our Facebook page, and chances are people will still be talking to us. Hey man, I loved you on that blah 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 blah. So that concept hit me like, wow, we're feeding our own sort of creation of an image that will live on way past us, because everything stays on the internet. So the idea that we are feeding our avatars for them to survive on past us and become us once we're gone was just an intriguing idea. And so anyways, I asked her, when you approach the song, can you kind of think about these things as you're doing it? And she did, and it really came out great. Great application.
Yeah. That kind of makes you think twice about the stuff you're posting online every once in a while.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, Peter Banks, I haven't had the chance to meet him, but I've heard that he's just like a swell guy, that he's a real easy-going kind of cat.
Yeah, Peter's great. I've met him a few times in person when I was on Yes tours, and we've spoken on the phone a bunch, and, I love having him involved in these records, and he's always coming from a very eclectic place with guitar playing, so it's always a unique thing that you get back. And his solo on that track is just really ethereal and atmospheric and just eclectic, and kind of, it just matches the feeling of the track perfectly, so he did a great job.
Is there an artist on this project that you had difficulty getting a hold of, that it took some jumping through hoops to get a hold of?
Not really. I mean, most of the people who I'm engaging I know and have a relationship with already, and those that I don't, like for instance, Fanny Haslam, I had never really worked with on that level, or Alan Parsons, even though I knew Alan from when he opened up for Yes on the road while I was in the band. We hung out a little bit and talked and became kind of friendly there. But no difficulties. Everybody, is interested in creating something cool and raising the bar to the project and not being too pompous about anything or ego-driven. Oftentimes I get emails back from people like, I hope that's okay, and I'm listening and I'm blown away. You know what I mean? It's like, I hope that's okay. Hey, amazing. So, no, it's quite easy. I'm blessed in that, but things come easy project-wise.
You're kind of in a real nice position, sort of. I'm not sure how to put it, but sort of musically speaking, you're right in a spot where it's like you have access. It just seems to me like you have access to just damn near anybody you want.
The internet provides us now with access points that didn't exist before. So that's one element of it. And, I have been doing this a long, long time now. And while I'm not a hit-making producer or, a hit-writing kind of artist, I am a survivor and have been doing this a long time. And I think that the artists who I work with know that when they give me their stuff, I'm going to treat it with respect and care and prop it into the proper kind of setting that they're going to sound good in. So I think that helps a lot too, is that I have the trust of these guys to make something of it, and I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah. I guess I assume there's a lot of back and forth that goes on too. Now that the project is done, that eventually you'll be getting phone calls from these people saying, "Hey Billy, I got this thing going on. I need you to come." And
well, that's how I ended up producing John Wetton's solo album. Wouldn't have happened had we not made several tribute projects. And along the way, every time we did a tribute, I would be nudging him in an email going, "You sounded great singing that Bohemian Rhapsody. Now we should write something original together. Let's go." And eventually, after pestering John long enough, I guess, because he ended up coming here to my house and we made Raised in Captivity basically 29 days, from nothing to that record in 29 days. So, yeah, things do tend to go around and circle back on themselves when you're doing things like this.
I'm particularly looking forward to hearing the track with Steve Hillage and Larry Fast.
Yeah, Steve Hillage, man, God, I've become such a huge fan of his playing, but working with him closer here, I just love what the guy does, where he thinks, how he looks at guitar parts, the textures, the tones, the notes, everything. So I'm actually looking forward to working with Steve more, and that particular track with the two of them is quite unique, as we were just speaking about it before. It's got a vibe big time on it.
That's very beneath.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
Now, as we speak, I'm actually looking at Amazon, and there's also, I just saw this for the first time, there's also a deluxe edition where you can get, I guess, all the instrumental versions of these tunes.
Yes, that seems to be kind of the new trend now. It's like when you make the record, you make an instrumental version as well. It's kind of new to me, to be honest with you. It was sort of like when they asked me to do that, I thought, really? People just want the music? I'm used to that kind of thing for, television and source stuff where they just want music, but to an actual CD that you can buy is quite interesting. So I found that to be unique.
Now, you touched a little bit on creating a live situation. I was actually thinking about that a couple of days ago because I know we've talked about it before, the New Year's Eve show that we did with Circa.
Yes.
And I was thinking, how cool would it be to do something like that with this band? Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Well, with Prog Collective, I'm thinking that it actually might be able to get up on a proper stage and get a proper tour going, because it's released on a bigger level than I do my solo stuff in Circa, which is self-released and self-promoted. So I'm actually speaking to a few artists who are involved with the record. I don't want to get into names right now because nothing's secure, but I am speaking with a few different artists about, hey, what do you think if there was some touring on the line? We put this together and went for it, and so far, all of the answers are, that sounds really interesting to me, keep me posted, that sounds good. So you never know, this could take flight and get onto a stage. I mean, of course, a Ustream concert would be very cool, but quite honestly, the logistics of pulling this kind of thing together with people all over the planet coming together, it would probably end up more for a touring situation where the economy of what we're trying to do justifies getting together, you know.
So now you've got, you mentioned a new solo project.
New solo album called The Art of Survival that I just finished mastering, and I just released a video for it that I made on YouTube for people to enjoy, full track for people to enjoy and check out. It should be out in a couple of weeks' time. This will be my 6th solo CD, and I love making these things because in and amongst all the other things that I do, working with so many different people, it's the one time where I can kind of shut the door and be by myself and think for myself selfishly, if you will, musically, and I don't have to think about anybody else and what they would like to do here, how that might apply. I just do what I want to do. So to that end, it was a quite exciting process to get back in and do another one of those. And this new record is quite interesting. The concepts are about the military-industrial complex, drone deciphers, whose side are we on? It's all got this political sort of edge to it, kind of just taking an assessment of where we are in all this technology and how it relates to our politics and privacy. And I mean, the United States is going to have 1,500 drones flying over our own country by 2013. That kind of shocks me that we're at that stage, So I just
basically just good time party rock and roll.
Pretty much, yeah. People get very depressed and wonder what's about them.
Now, I might have been hallucinating about this, but did I see something about a Prog Collective 2?
I am starting Prog Collective 2
really?
As we speak, and I've already got 19 people committed. And I haven't written a note yet. That's kind of the email that I sent to these guys is that I'd really love you to be involved in the second one because the first one went well, but I haven't written a note yet to send you anything, but I did want to reserve your spot. And for the most part, as I said, I got 19 people involved already, and some great artists, so I'm looking forward to getting in there and crafting again and going for it.
Was there somebody that you couldn't quite, it didn't work out logistically for the first one, but you got it for the second one?
Well, I tried John on the first one. It didn't work out, and I'm approaching him again for the second one. We'll see if it works out on this one. I would love to work with John Anderson.
Ah, really?
Yeah. I sent him a track that was pretty well written before, and he appreciated the track, but he was kind of like, I really dig writing the words and the melody and stuff to the things I sing, which I can relate to. So I sent him an email recently asking him, if I sent you a track that was just a track, would you be into it? So we'll see. Who knows? It comes down to taste, desire, and time, those three components,
Right.
The way that I craft music is a little bit more aggressive in kind of certain ways that perhaps, for some artists it might be too much. You just don't know. It's taste. It's what you want to do.
So, anything else going on? Any other projects you're involved in you want to talk about?
Well, I'm starting a Steve Miller tribute, which, is another in a long line of tributes that I do, which is exciting. But I'm also working with a lot of great new bands. I've just finished a new band called XNA that is like a very cool progressive version of a modern spin on old classic kind of Genesis with an orchestral twist, and it's just really quite good stuff. They're called XNA, and you're going to want to look out for them. I'm also working on another band called Days Between Stations, which has a record out already, and I'm working on their second record with them. And I'm producing a country artist coming up here really soon, and I'm just doing all kinds of stuff in all different directions. Anyone who's really interested in following along can find me on Facebook at Billy Sherwood. On Facebook, that's me adminning the page. I answer emails. And, I work with not only, known artists, but I work with people who are trying to get their own art together, civilians, if you will, for the lack of a better word. And oftentimes they contact me through Facebook. Hey, man, would you play a solo on here? Would you sing on this? And I do. So I enjoy interacting with people and working on all kinds of stuff. So if anyone's out there and needing some assistance, don't be shy. I'm a musician, and I work with a lot of different people. So that's been one of the more exciting aspects for me lately, is working with new artists who contact me over the net, and it's just like, wow, where have you been? Check this out. This is amazing. So it's kind of the modern age of finding new artists.
Right.
It's cool.
Awesome. All right. Well, Billy, once again, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you, brother.
Well, that wraps up our conversation with Billy Sherwood. Appreciate y'all listening in, and everybody who's subscribing to the podcast. That's very, very cool. You make us feel very good here. But as promised, I've got a copy of this CD. All right. You've heard all the music. You've heard everybody who's on it. I have a brand new copy of it. And all you have to do is send me an email. I know not everybody has Facebook, so that's cool, but most people can email, right? So I'm going to give you my email address, and all I want you to do is send me your name and your address, and then put Prog Collective in the subject or in the body. It doesn't matter. I'm going to open up each one. So do that, and let's see. We're going to do this for the entire month of September, all the way. So you have till September 30th to do this, and then the 1st of October, we'll go ahead and announce the winner. All right? We'll announce it on the Facebook, on the website, and all that stuff. So send me an email. Here's the email address. It's Roman, R-O-M-A-N, Guzman, G-U-Z-M-A-N, at WCSLonline.com. That's W-C, as in cat, S as in Sam, L, online.com. Roman Guzman at WCSLonline.com. That's the address. Go ahead and send me, like I said, send me your contact info and put Prog Collective in the subject. We'll throw all those in a big hat, and then I'll make my wife do the drawing, and somebody will win a brand new copy of the Prog Collective. All right. Well, once again, thanks for tuning in. Lots more stuff to come. The next episode, we've got something really special planned for you. I'm really excited about it. That'll be coming up in episode, what is